Hey guys, Goresh here, and I'm joined by Bebop and Nolar, and we have some breaking news for Legends. Now, typically on this channel, we don't cover news like as it comes out, but I felt, as well as other guys here felt, that this was such a big thing to talk about that we pretty much were all in here anyway. We were like, okay, might as well just record a video about this because this is potentially game-breaking stuff. So according to the in-game news, if you go into the Super Chrono Crystal Sale news tab, and you scroll down, there's actually a portion that talks about Goku, the NAMEK LF Blue Goku. He's returning to a Legends Return summon scheduled for early November. And then they literally say, we recommend that you exchange for other multi-Z powers in the lineup this time. On top of that, the current Ultra Space Time Rush is only up for a week. It reset today, and it goes away next week. Which would be in line when we're due for another Zenkai, because as you guys know at this point, they typically like to do banner, Zenkai, alternating every single week. So it looks to me, and it looks to the other guys in here as well, we were like, oh, this guy's probably getting a Zenkai because Gohan, who got his Zenkai, who was the last LF to get a Zenkai, he had a Legends Return banner with a higher pull rate than normal. I think it was 0.5% on that banner. So it looks like the same thing's happening for this Goku. So like we're 99.9% sure that this Goku's getting a Zenkai, and not only is he getting a Zenkai, but it looks like it's coming out next week. So I don't know if you guys want to jump in, but what are your guys' initial thoughts on this?
The very likely or the very unlikely chance that they throw a curveball and say, "Hey, actually, it's Goten." I don't see that happening anytime soon. So I mean, this pretty much confirms that it's not going in any particular order. So the fact that it's NAMEK, it's kind of very terrifying for the meta, especially being that hybrid's already at the top. We just got the Super Saiyan 3 Zenkai, so now him with the Super Saiyan 3 and NAMEK, that's gonna be a very dangerous meta, and the potential, well, not the potential, the upcoming PvP update that's gonna happen as well. It's gonna be kind of scary, guys. Like I'm pretty terrified.
Yeah, look, I don't really play much Legends now, but I did play when Nameku was released, and I went pretty hard for him and Full Power Frieza. And yeah, I was still a noob then, still noob now, but overall, this looks pretty terrifying because I remember I basically won with that special move like every time, and his so yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how the meta is gonna change from here on out.
Yeah, and I think this unit in particular is one that they have to be super careful with how they actually balance him. And yeah, it's funny that I mentioned balance because, we just had
Right.
Gohan Zenkai, and yeah, balance, haha, he's not balanced at all. That's just not a hot take. It's just the facts. But the fact that this Goku's getting a Zenkai, I'm 99% sure, he basically has like a I win button, right? His blue card is literally an I win button.
Yep.
And they had to nerf him, but instead of directly nerfing the unit, what they did was they nerfed the entire battle system, or I should say change the entire battle system to indirectly nerf this unit.
Right.
Which was their like slick way of just being like, yeah, we're not okay with how this guy's acting or behaving in the game's environment right now. So the fact that they're going to go ahead and give this guy a Zenkai now, I would have expected this guy to be one of the last ones to get one, just because of the fact that it's like such a dangerous decision to do this. I'm taking a look at his stats right now, and at 14 stars, now I'm not saying people are going to have this guy at 14 stars, but keep in mind two things here. One, he is like what is his Zenkai ability going to be, and what is his Z ability? Well, Z ability is right now it's Saiyans and Super Saiyans, right? Strike and blast attacks, so both offenses for Saiyans and Super Saiyan. Is his Z ability going to be another blue Saiyan buffer like the Bardock's is, the Super Saiyan Bardock? So that's number one. And then number two, he's a transforming unit. So his stats are already ridiculous. Like his blast attack is 285,000. Like what is that going to be? Like what are they doing?
That's the biggest question that I've asked ever since Father-Son Kamehameha Gohan was released. I mean, one blast card already does a Rising Rush damage. So, I mean, literally, this Nameku, I don't know. Like, he's pretty, like, he's not even terrible now. Like, obviously, like Goresh said, he got indirectly nerfed. So, the fact that he is a last man standing unit as well, the same with Gohan, like, I don't know what they could possibly do. Like, I'm already thinking that You know, his abilities are gonna give him more HP, more defense. Probably gonna get more buffs with Sun Family units. Maybe you hybrids. Who knows? But I mean, it's already dangerous. And I know Goresh said earlier, like before we started the recording, and he was pretty much memeing. But I wouldn't be surprised if they actually made a special counter tackles and taps, like because I just don't know what they're thinking anymore. And this is just gonna be terrifying. I probably will Zenkai him just for the memes and for the lols, but it's just too much.
I mean, your team comp, right? You're thinking this guy plus the purple Super Saiyan 3 Goku
Yeah.
and the Bardock? The Super
Oh,
Saiyan
and
Bardock?
Gohan. You can run Sun Family.
Yeah, it's,
So, yeah, it's kind of nuts, man. Like, pick your poison at that point.
I mean, technically, you're actually right in the fact that you can run the blue-blue-purple setup with the Zenkai Super Saiyan Bardock with this Goku, and then, you know, the third unit you can use can be the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. That Goku,
Right.
the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, doesn't need the Bardock support to be good. Right.
it's true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like the Goku just that's I guess that's a pure Saiyan setup, right? It should be a pure Saiyan team.
Yep.
And then what you could do is you could just run a bench of color buffers, like the EX14, the EX Majin Buu,
Oh yeah.
because you don't even need to care about having a Saiyan buffer. You can just run the color setup because it's blue, blue, purple already, which is like an optimal color, setup for the team. So they have to be really careful what they do with this Namek Goku. So I think what you mentioned earlier about them just maybe focusing on his defense is probably what they should do. Maybe his last man standing abilities just get like immensely buffed, and that's pretty much all they change for his unique abilities. But like, does he? I guess the question I have was, if they changed nothing about his uniques but just buffed his stats from his Zenkai, like, is that enough? It probably is, right?
Probably is, yeah, because that's the only. I mean, that's kind of technically the only issue now. Is just his damage seems. It just seems a little outdated now because of all the obvious released units now. You know, that's how they pretty much indirectly nerf characters. They release a more broken unit every time. So, if he just got a stat buff on its own, he'd still be powerful. He would be powerful the way he was before the PvP update. Indirectly nerfing him. I mean that was pretty much it. And I just don't know where they can go and make this unit balanced. Like, what can they honestly do and say, you know what, this guy seems fair? Because I mean, look at FSK. I mean, he's not balanced at all. He's a literal mistake, and they're probably gonna do the same mistake and pouring too much details for him and make the unit just a one-man army.
Yeah. And you know what else is funny as well is if you run this unit alongside the Father Son Kamehameha unit, that's two characters on your team that have like a ridiculous last man standing ability, right?
Yep.
So
And a heal.
And a heal. So as long as you have one of those characters alive at the end of the match, like, you pretty much have a fourth character almost.
You could literally heal from 0 to like 1,000 real quick. I remember those days. Like, if you were the last man standing with Nameku, your health would just go back to normal. Like, that's it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, the other topic we can sort of touch on real quick is the pace that they're releasing these LF Zenkais, because the first one obviously was Beerus, and that was almost a year ago at this point. I believe he came out like late November, early December-ish.
Yeah, early December, if I remember.
Yeah, 2019. So, and then Father Son Kamehameha Gohan came out, like 2 months ago now? Maybe like a little bit less than that.
Mm-hmm.
So they went from like, I don't know what the gap is, like a 10-month gap to like not an 8 to 9 month gap or whatever it was between Beerus and Gohan, to now it's like a 2-month gap between Gohan and this Goku. Yeah. Like, are they going to continue to pump out these Legends Limited Zenkais as often as like every 2 months? Because if they do, that's it's going to catch up to these newer units pretty fast. And people joke about Vegeta Blue getting a Zenkai. Like, we're going to get there at some point. It's closer than
third year anniversary.
If they do one every 2 months, we're going to get there soon. Like, it's actually not a joke.
Yep. It's just Yeah, I don't see like the breathing room, like you said. It's gonna suffocate everybody. I already know the free to play players right now. They're kind of scared, and I'm already scared. And like I'm not free to play, obviously, and Goresh is scared. Like, this is the sign. Like something is wrong. Okay, like they should not be doing this right now. Like, they're pumping out a lot of units and a lot of Zenkai, especially with LFs that are just gonna run rampant. It's too much at this point. I don't know how to feel about this. If they had waited and been a little more patient and said, you know what, maybe December, I could have seen that happening. But no, there's just too much happening in the month of November.
Yeah.
Well,
I was about to ask
yeah.
you, Nolar, one thing. I mean, you can continue your point, but I'm going to ask you one thing after this.
Yeah, no, my point is the Legends Limited Zenkai's. Okay, so how many banners has he been on since he was released? So he was released last year in
don't know.
July?
Like a fair amount, honestly.
Yeah,
Right,
I
so-
believe he came out in August last year.
August. Okay, so if he's been around fair amount, I guess they're saying that if you got lucky, you pretty much could have him at 7 stars to Zenkai him, right? And that's the same concept with I want to apply with Gohan. Has Gohan been around enough at the time where it would justify a Zenkai? I know some people just get shafted, or they're free to play and they only get a 2-star or 3-star, or don't even have an LF to begin with. So, for when you guys are saying they could just Zenkai a lot of LFs very quickly, my counterpoint to that is, have they been around long enough in order to justify it? Like, the next Zenkai is not going to be LF Frieza, right? Because he hasn't been
I hope
around
it is.
enough. Well, I know you hope it is, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, in terms of availability for the player base, just look at the probability. How many players have a 7-star Goten, right?
Right.
That's
right.
more than likely going to be the next LF Zenkai than, say, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, right? Who is a year old now, right? Pretty much.
Right, yeah. He's just approaching that, yeah.
So, like, just to quell the fears, I know you guys are, saying like every LF could be Zenkai, and they eventually will be. It's just there's going to be a line of, okay, if they've been around long enough, then they will probably pump that out. But on the flip side of me saying that, why not Zenkai another unit, a blue unit? You know what I mean? To like counter Gohan. It doesn't have to be LF NAMEK. It could be anybody else, right? And especially a lot of categories and teams that need a buff.
Yeah, I mean, when the Gohan got his Zenkai, he was definitely on way more banners in the past than this Goku has been, just because this Goku is way newer than that Gohan was. This Goku came out 5 months after that Gohan did, and he's getting his Zenkai 2 months after the Gohan is. So that's a discrepancy of 3 months. So that this Goku has had 3 months less time to be on banners than Gohan has. But I think
he was also on the anniversary banner though, wasn't he?
The Goku.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
He was
him
on,
and FSK. Yep.
I remember that. Yeah. But what I was about to say was, I think the reason why they're doing this so soon is because giving these LFs their Zenkais gives them obviously a lot more worth and value. And for a unit that has a 0.25% pull rate, you have to sort of give them a sense of value to the player. Because if a player is pulling Goten, like, how happy are you really? Like, you pull a 0.25% rate unit, but it's not really the most hype unit. It's not really the most usable unit right now in this meta. So
yeah, he's the least popular LF.
Yeah,
I feel like people would definitely prefer more NAMEK because it's just Goku. You know what I mean? Like, it's Goku. Everybody wants Goku.
Yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to ask you, Nolar, was, I know you've played a lot of gacha games in the past. I'm not sure how familiar you are with PvP-based gacha games, because I know you like to do hero collectors mostly. But in terms of like the level of just buffs and stuff and like power creep that we're seeing in this game, like, is there a comparable game that you've played before that is like this, or is this just like on a different level to everything you've seen?
Well, the thing is so PvP-based gacha games. The one thing about them, and as Bebop mentioned, is that there's power creep, inevitable power creep, right? You want the best unit now, but the next banner or 2 later, it's countered, and that one has more stats and whatever. So obviously, Nameku, he's not bad. It's just the stats aren't the same as, let's say, 21, right? Another transforming unit. She probably has slightly better stats and better value on her teams than he does, but what makes it interesting is Zenkai allows you to buff up an old unit again. Again, we pay it twice, right? You got to pay for the Zenkai.
Right.
But I haven't seen anything quite at this level where there's just breakneck speed of like meta changing consistently like this. Like I haven't seen anything quite like this. Now there are other games, like I said, that just run with the power creep, like Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and I mean those are more PvE hero collector games. But I have seen that happen before, and the one big problem is when they go at that breakneck speed is that people get burnt out and they stop because they're just tired of trying to stay at the top. And every week it changes. If that's the case, then I wouldn't be surprised if the player base dwindles because, oh well, I need to chase for NAMEK, and then next week it's gonna be IT Goku, and then he counters everything, and even purple units. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the only downside that's worrying for me, is that at the speed that they're going, it's just quite big.
People are gonna feel like they're gonna be tired of just trying to catch up just to even play or remotely have fun in PvP. I know there are a lot of casuals out there, and I know we just got that free training mode, but imagine, you just go into free training, that training mode, that win or lose, but you just see all Zenkai team and you're just not Zenkai at all. Of course you're gonna be upset. Like, it just sucks that you have to have the biggest, shiniest toy to even remotely come close to getting a victory in this game.
Yeah, and then the last point that I'm going to leave you guys with is this Goku getting a Zenkai now? Is that a product of them trying to quote unquote balance the fact that Gohan exists? Because keep in mind, this guy's blue, right?
Yep.
And them rushing, well, I mean, it looks like they're rushing it because, again, 2 months. Them rushing this Zenkai, like, you have to wonder, is this because of Gohan? So are we indirectly paying the price for Gohan? Them screwing up the Gohan Zenkai and making him too good? I don't know. I think it actually might be the reason. But,
I 100% agree, because if Vegito Blue, who was the top tier Blues LF, couldn't finish off Gohan, they had to bring something else to counter him directly. You know what I mean? So I mean, I 100% agree with you, but that's just me.
The only counter to that is, at the same time, despite the color advantage, it's like, is he really being, coming into the game now to pretty much counter FSK? Because technically, if anything, he just helps him more. So it's kind of ironic that they would release a unit that pretty much buffs FSK or pretty much helps him even further. You know what I mean? Like, if they like Majin Vegeta, for example, if they Zenkai'd him, then that'd be understandable. Like, that would obviously mean, FSK is too powerful. But I get it. I believe that they're releasing him to counter FSK. But if anything, this just makes matters worse. This just makes him more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, up until this point, the only counter to Gohan was another Gohan.
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
Yeah. Maybe this is going to be the number 2 counter or whatever. But that's pretty much all we had. Do you guys have any other finishing and closing remarks you want to say before we head out here?
Well, maybe I might be back because I have a 14-star Goku.
I would just say run and hide. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, you guys down below in the comments can let us know what you think about this. Pretty unexpected that they would do this so soon, but that's what we have to live with here. So hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you all in the next video.
Bye, guys.